Research taking place at NUST in efforts to promote the university's research agenda and the impact thereof.
Research Matters, it's Tuesday and Research Matters is definitely officially back. Welcome to the very first Research and Innovation Matters podcast for 2025. Today we are setting the tone for the year by exploring the significance of research and innovation here at NUST. Joining us, of course, it's me and Kuda, but also I'm joined by Dr. Anna Matros-Goreses, the Executive Director of the Directorate of Research, Innovation and Partnership, DRIP. Dr. Matros, welcome to NUST FM.
Thank you so much. It feels so good to be back.
You know, it's been quite a while. I was actually looking at it. We're in March now. This is our first for the year, but so much has been happening.
In April now.
Oh, you see?
Or were you just doing an April Fool's right there?
Don't believe anything you hear today. So I'm not even too sure if it's a good thing that we're doing this show today.
Nobody thinks it's a joke because it's really serious.
But yeah, no, it's awesome and always great to be here. And Miss K, just having you really also stand in for Unda is always such a lovely thing. We've got, as you rightfully said, we've got Dr. Anna Matros-Goreses in studio with us. You know, traditionally we do this every single year we start the show. We have Dr. AMG, as she's affectionately known, and we start off the show with her. Maybe let's just really go down to basics. Why do we do this show? How did research and innovation matters just come into the picture? Why are we doing this?
Yeah, so it's all in the name. For those people that did not even look at it, you know, we're talking about research and innovation, not matters in terms of issues, but the fact that it actually matters in our lives. And that's the point. As universities, we are so often criticized for just an academic institution. You know, you lecturers, you talk a lot about theory and what we want to do is talk about the research behind the theory. A lot of people think actually teaching does not involve research, but it does. So we here in this show, we want to bring across the fact that there is an entire chain of activities that happen, from the knowledge that the students receive, to the research that is happening in the field, to the innovation that comes out of it, to the impact that is actually not just articulated on the certificate when you graduate, but what goes beyond that certificate. And that's the thing. Research actually really matters. Innovation matters. And that is what we're trying to do. So it's all about societal advancement. But the issue about NUST FM and why we're having the show is to tell the stories. We need to be able to tell people behind the scenes, who are the people that are actually teaching our students? Yeah. Whether it's the research or the innovation that comes out of it. Who are they? Where are they coming from? How did they get where they are? And how do we instill a sort of research, innovation, and our latest one, entrepreneurship mindset, so that we think about beyond our certificates and the graduation. That's a new thing. It's a hype. We're getting towards that. So everybody's like, I need to graduate. I need to get my certificate. But how? Why?
And then, yes.
What matters? You know, the so what? And that's what we're trying to address with this particular show.
Right, today's the 1st of April. We are in a brand new month, in a brand new year. But let's quickly go back to last year. Can we take a look at some of the standout achievements that we had in 2024, just to try and shape the direction that we're headed towards in this new 2025?
Yes, we'll get to that. But you started talking about the April and this year, and you did not say that this is a special year. This is the year where we're celebrating our 10th anniversary, right? And that is a milestone achievement for us here at NUST. It's big because we were 10 years old university, and we have so much to show for that. So we did a lot of breakthrough projects last year when I'm talking of, so I want to talk about research innovation as one word. We're not doing the and thing anymore. Because we want to ensure that there's a clear linkage between the research and the innovation that comes out of it. So we did a lot of things last year. I mean, where do I start? So I said it's 10 years. So do you have time enough for me to go over the 10 years of achievement? Because we did a lot.
That's a trick question,
That's
Kay.
a trick question. I would definitely like to hear some of it, Doctor.
Yes,
Please.
yes. But not all of it, because then we'll be here for 10 hours.
So look, we always align with the national priorities when it comes to research innovation, one word. And so a lot happened, especially when we reflect on last year. There was a lot around the renewable energy, the green hydrogen, starting to put, the Ludretz campus. We're starting to put the building blocks in place for people to actually understand why it matters. So we did that quite well, I must say. We looked at Rietfontein. Rietfontein campus is focusing on smart agriculture, precision agriculture. We did interesting projects in climate change space because, I mean, can we talk about climate change or can we talk about climate change? The rain, you should have someone on here to just articulate for us what's happening right now as we speak. But having said that, we also on the innovation entrepreneurship side, there was a lot of interesting things happening. As you know, we introduced what we call the what are we calling it? The PIP. It's the practical component of the...
Sorry, I didn't come to the rescue. A moment of silence.
Our guys are going to kill us. But it's a practical component of the course that all the students are taking at the moment, which is called the Innovation, Creativity and Entrepreneurship course. It's a service course. And we've been criticized, like I said in the beginning, that it's so theoretical. There's nothing practical about it. I mean, you sit and learn about writing business proposals in the classroom and so what. So we'd introduced the PIP. And now, for the life of us, we can't remember what PIP stands for.
But what I do remember is last year there were partners that also came on board to really support this initiative. So I remember something.
Oh, I'm so happy you're remembering something. But so the point was that was for us a great way of bringing not just the university industry component into it, but also having the opportunity or giving the opportunity to the students to actually go through the entrepreneurship program in a practical manner. So it was like a bazaar. It was crazy. We had partners, Impact Tank, CC Hub, Demola. They all had different methodologies in terms of entrepreneurship, and the students learned a lot from that. And that was under the leadership of the Faculty of Commerce, Human Sciences and Education. And also that was the precursor of what we are going to be looking at this year, which is, and I'm speaking in advance, and we just have to say we are receiving this.
Putting it out into the universe.
Putting it out there, but it is really to realize the innovation hub that we're looking at. And that is going to be a space where we are having entrepreneurs, our student entrepreneurs, our staff entrepreneurs, setting up shop and just having that, let's instill or fertilize the entrepreneurship mindset, because you can do it either way. You can have it in your studies, you can have it in your daily work, everywhere. Let's just get that out so that we are able to produce things. We want to focus on product development, and that is something we did very good last year. I can go on and on about this.
I think the 10 years is up, is it?
Is it 10 years? I thought it was only 10 days now.
I think also something that's also very key, Doctor, that I've also heard you really speak extensively about and passionately about is highlighting that when we speak about entrepreneurship, it's not only about the Faculty of Commerce, so to put it. It really just cuts across the institution. So whatever field you're in, whether in marketing, whether in journalism, whether in architecture, there must be that entrepreneurial mindset, right? If you want to start an open, I don't know, can you call it, is it called, what is it? studio for architects, studio practice, okay, whatever it is that you want to open your own thing, that entrepreneurial mindset. And I understand that's eventually the end goal for everyone.
Relieve the burden of government as well, to allow people to get in, to create the industries as opposed to waiting. When are we going to get a job? When is government opening? So NUST driving.
But also putting Namibia on the map.
Absolutely.
And we can do small things. People always think big. They're thinking, oh, I don't have a startup capital. You know, small things. And I want to quote the DVC Research, Innovation and Partnerships, where he's talking about Professor Colin Stanley. And he's always saying it's like building a nest. If you see, have you ever seen a bird making their nest? Patience, you know, one by one tweak or whatever, one by one, it goes on and on until you have that nest that is comfortable for you, your family, whatever. It takes time, it takes endurance, it takes resilience, and that is what we need to be building and instilling, and that is what we are doing at the university. We're doing that very well, so we must applaud then obviously the colleagues that are working behind the scenes on these types of things. But yeah, that was just a reflection on what happened last year and what we did very well. Can I talk about what we didn't do very well?
That I like that. That's real talk also, right? And obviously with how are we going to mitigate those challenges and possible solutions. I think it's very good. Real talk. Please go for it. Not too long, not another 10 years.
Okay, fine. I'll keep it short. Yes. But what we didn't do well is actually getting those stories out. Yeah. That's what we didn't do well. The visibility of the impact stories. It's something that we take it for granted. We're a university. People know what we're doing and we just go with that. But we are not talking to the community. We're not asking those that actually, where the impact should happen. Yeah. What is NUST doing for us? And that's something that we want to focus on. We would have focused on it. Listen, I have to talk about this. We would have focused on it had we still had our science and communications specialist with us.
We just had to have her. We just had to have her.
You know, for the listeners now, they're really confused to say what is going on.
Yes, we stole Kuda, and that's what's going on.
But I'm sure that gap will soon be filled and we'll be back on track. But I think that also is very key what you said now, Doctor, to say sometimes we're doing so many great things, but we're just in our spaces. And that's why we even have shows like these. Yeah. But also for the different audiences, how else do we package it for other people to be able to consume it? So much is happening at the institution, but sometimes it's just really not out there. Only when we sit down here, how many times have we sat here, we're like, really? You're doing that? But where is it? Where is it documented?
Yeah. So speaking of that, a certain person, which we're not going to name now, names. Yes, have been on my case to say, listen, how do we, the message in terms of research innovation matters, right? How do we make sure that those impact stories, we're not just preaching to ourselves, let's bring in the people. So we will look at how we can revamp or sort of how we will enhance the current program to bring in those so that community members come in and they literally tell us and they'll tell us what you're doing right, what you're not doing well, but also how that has impacted on their lives. So we're looking at that. We're looking at bringing in politicians. Guys, change of government, women presidents. How about getting the president on NUST FM? Yeah.
Doctor will give you that task. You can make it happen for us.
You have this on record, right? That's the goal. She said we're putting it out into the universe.
Yeah, but sort of trying to get at least 2 or so opinions in there. I know we've got a little limited time, but get the industry in here with policy, get the industry in the community, the industry with our researchers, and again, a lot of emphasis is on our postgrad students, colleagues. That's our lifeline of our research. And I have a new word, and that's what I was looking for. We are no longer calling it whatever, we're calling it our research. Wait for it, drum roll. Research enterprise. Isn't that the coolest thing? We're talking of research enterprise now because we are bringing on board business, innovation, and what do we have? An enterprise. And that's what we're going to go with this year.
And I think
and
terminology is really everything, right? Because it encompasses what it is that we're trying to, and we have to speak the people's language, right?
Yep.
Absolutely. All right. Doctor, I don't want to keep you for too long.
Please keep me.
The good thing is you want to stay. But before we go on a short musical break, Doctor, let's talk about what is Researcher Development Framework and why was it developed in the first place?
Oh, that's a great question. It's, again, bringing life to our research enterprise pillar. So, as you know, being an academic is comprised of three things, right? It's comprised of teaching, research, community service. And that's the complete picture of being an academic. And what we're talking with the Researcher Development Framework is that we are placing emphasis on the research component, but also on the early career researchers to give them an opportunity to have more time dedicated to their research.
What does career researcher mean? Am I starting as a first year, undergraduate? What does that mean?
Eyes. You know, I have to put those subtitles for that.
No, that was my intriguing
Miss Kate, did you see that?
Sorry, Doctor.
Okay. Yeah.
No, so our early career researchers are our researchers that are in the process of getting their PhDs, for example. So it's postgrad students, but they are our staff members, for example. It could even be a postgrad student, but you're in that process of getting your PhD. Because, you know, when you start with your masters, you're starting to master the art of research. It's basically how do you do research. And after that process, you now go into the space of doing research for a particular purpose. And so it's our postgrad students, be it staff or students, going up the ladder, doing your PhD, or is it down the ladder, whichever way you want to go, as long as you're going somewhere, right? So doing their PhDs and then getting into the PhD, your postdoc is 2-3 years after your PhD, you've received it.
Level after level after level.
Yes, and then after the postdoc, then you go into junior researcher, senior researcher, and professor. So there's a whole pipeline of where we are going with the Researcher Development Framework, and we are really putting emphasis on support for those. So giving them more time to spend on their research, and within the research, we always, again, talking of product development. That is what we want to do at the end of the day. So that is basically it. And we really have to applaud the NUST leadership that they have invested in that, because we are looking at product development, which takes time. And we want to, like I said, we want to put Namibia, NUST, on the African map and beyond. And we are saying, let's look at creating a conducive environment for that to happen. And that is basically the framework that we've been doing. It's sitting under the postgraduate center that we have. Fantastic place. You have to visit that at some point. Whether you're doing your postdoc or not, your postgraduate studies or not, it's really just going there and understanding what is possible. What can we do? And the one thing I must always say is, and something that people are always worried about when we're talking of enterprise development, entrepreneurship, is this intellectual property management. And that is something that we take very serious in the Postgraduate Center, where we are really starting to develop a space where the students can just be themselves, do the research that they're passionate about, or rather find their passion for research in that particular space. And yeah, so that RDF, you're going into acronyms again, and that is where we are now trying to see how do we support them. Yeah.
Now I know Miss K is just about to, and I'm sure she's looking at me to say I'm about to go for a musical break. But I just really liked that question that she asked, to say, what is an early career researcher? Because this is really why we have this show, right? To really go down to basics, unpack stuff that maybe we're now so used to, so we just say it effortlessly. but to really cater to everybody. Musical break is yours.
Absolutely. This is the first edition of Research Matters for the year 2025. We'll head into music and we're back on the flip side. Keep listening.